What up, Austin Men's Development? Steve Mayeda here, and we're out. We're shooting some photography in nature. It's a beautiful thing. My dogs are somewhere, hopefully not getting into too much trouble, running off there while I'm dancing up a storm with this guy. But I wanted to talk about Captain Marvel because this keeps coming up. Is that how Captain Marvel is feminist propaganda, how it's telling the wrong story about, I don't know, women or men and how they're supposed to be, and how the story of man is so much different, and it's over-intellectualized into all these ways. And we're on our Sunday call right now. It's been going on for about 7 hours, and we've been talking about this. We've been talking about a whole bunch of stuff, but this is one of the things that came up. See, I just saw Captain Marvel yesterday with my kids. They loved it. It was an amazing family adventure, and that to me is what movies are supposed to be. We go there, and it's an experience, and hopefully they remember it for a long time. But if I were to think that my boys, because I have 4 boys, but if I had a daughter too, that somehow this movie threatened who they were for the rest of their life, they didn't deserve to have their mind, their heart, their passions, and the things that we crave most important about ourselves. And see, we're talking about this because there's all this discussion, and whatever it is, whether it's men, whether it's women, whether it's whatever political thing that we have, whether it's our past, whether we're owed something, all of that is an excuse so that we don't have to be our best person. Because I'll tell you this, when I am hurt, when I am damaged, when I do not feel good about myself, and I have an excuse, man, I take that and run with it. And this gave me nothing throughout my entire life, so much to the point where I had to repeat it over and over again to know that that was dangerous. And see, this is part of the pollution of what we hear with all of this megaphone of trauma, hysteria, panic, and what we hear in men's development. So we hear this with the manosphere, we hear this with the Red Pill, we hear this with MGTOW, who are all stating facts which might be right, might be wrong. I think a lot of them are misinterpreted and off in so many different ways. But in that, we have so many damaged men hearing that. We have so many men that are hurt, that have been divorced, that have been fired from their jobs and had real life pain, but they're surrounding themselves with people who make an excuse for that pain. See, if Gillette took your dick away, or if Captain Marvel took your passion away, your drive to be a man, your belief in being whatever, or further affirmation that Hollywood is a liberal hotbed of people that are going to lie to you about what life is, man, so what? And you know what? I think a lot of them are. I think a lot of that is very true. But so what? So what? Are you that small to have a movie affect you in those ways? Now, I'll tell you this. Me personally, I thought there's much better Marvel movies out there. In fact, most of the movies that I like are movies that I don't really see anymore because I have kids and I go to the movies for my kids because they're entertained by it. But it served the purpose of perhaps entertaining kids, perhaps being a preview or a long, expensive commercial for Avengers 2, whatever, Endgame, the thing where they all disappeared and now Captain Marvel's going to fight Thanos or whatever. Don't read so much into it. Enjoy yourselves. You know, one of my favorite movies is a movie called Swept Away. It was made in 1974 by Lena Voltmuller. It's a pro-communist film. It's a communist propaganda film where she meant it to speak pro-communism. I don't watch the movie for that. Yet at the time, that was one of the most important things about it. But in that movie, it shares so much about humanity, men, women, love dynamics. And what's so crazy about that, if people in the manosphere watched that movie, I guarantee you they would be like, oh man, it was so amazing, and how the guy did this to the girl, and he was so strong and alpha, and then society came and screwed him away. And they would all say that until they learned that it was a pro-communist propaganda film, which really, that was Lena and I forget the lead actor's name in it. That was their intention. Look, take your politics out of your life because the solution for you is much, much different than the social solution that we're all looking for. Man, and one more thing about that whole Captain Marvel thing is that we are complaining so much about the weakness about men because of what society has given us. But gossip, thinking a movie could change us and bitching about it and talking about it online and all these different things, man, that is an example of just how weak men have become. That a Hollywood movie that you can choose not to see is all you're gonna talk about today, man, what are you living for? Like, Jesus. There's so much in this world beyond your Facebook post or things that you're arguing about, man. Figure out a way to get a life. Get away from your freaking cause, man, and go out and make an impact on your own life connected with somebody else's life face to face today. And do it without hate. Do it without a border or a barrier. Do it with just who you are. And man, that will teach you more about humanity and masculinity than, well, how many people like your comment? By the way, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and a comment, because that's how I get my self-esteem.